So session 6 is really a time to do two things: to consolidate what the parents have learned, to consolidate the gains that they have made, and to celebrate those, and to celebrate the commitment they've made to their own wellness and the wellness of their families. So looking in the facilitator guide on page 60, we see that listed in the purpose, as well as the objectives for session 6, the last session. And you can read through this here. And then if you look at the beginning of the session, we begin in a similar kind of way. I just want to make, although there's one difference here that's important to know, because this will involve preparing for the session before you get there. There are two options here in terms of the closing celebration, and that is really one option, I guess, or lack thereof. You can choose to celebrate with candles if you want, or not. Or obviously, as you know by now, we always encourage you to make it your own. So if you have some other closing way of celebrating, some little closing ritual, feel free of course, to incorporate that into the closing process. But you will see here that this is just one way of doing it with candles, that you would need to bring a pillar candle and votive candles for everyone, and something to light it with. And then that, if you scroll ahead here in the closing here, this is closing with candles. It gives you an idea of how to do that on page 62 of the facilitator guide. Also, if you are going to give them a gift of the Parent Wellness Compass book, the Outfitting for the Journey. Remember, we talked about that in an earlier module, an earlier tutorial, comparing the Parent Wellness Compass book, Outfitting for the Journey, with the with this Parent Wellness Circle book. Then you can obviously you want to be sure to have copies of those to bring as well. So that is, and if you need a reminder of what the Parent Wellness Compass book is and how it differs, go back and look at that earlier tutorial on comparing the two books. So then we want to do our normal kind of welcoming, however you want to do that. Put a quote up on the board. This is one that we have used, but obviously there may have been one that's emerged in the group, a favorite quote that people kind of kept going back to, whether it's, whatever we pay attention to is what will grow, whether it's change is inevitable, growth is optional, or maybe a quote that they've brought, because that's one of the options is as they've been able to work on their maps, is to have some kind of a wisdom quote. I've even had people laminate their wisdom quotes and bring them to share with the rest of the group. So I like starting with a quote, putting that up, and then having them journal about that and share about that. That's always a good opening. And then for the teaching segment, we really there's a lot that's in their book. I'll just take a look here at what is here, and then I'll switch to their workbook. But we want to, again, it's about consolidating. There's really nothing new here in terms of the teaching. It's just reviewing and helping them to internalize. Because, to use an overused cliche, what we hope in this program is that we give them parents not just a fish, but taught them how to fish. We've not just given them some specific help in a particular area of wellness, but we've really taught them a process that they can use in an ongoing way to enhance their own wellness. And of course, they can continue to participate in future wellness circles. But we do, our recommendation is that we do wrap up after 6 weeks. Now, if you're in your particular context, you have parents that are already meeting on an ongoing basis, then again, that's another way you can bring in that book with the 32 reflections, the Parent Compass Outfitting for the Journey book. So, but if you're going to continue to run wellness circles, we encourage you to break them, to conclude them, and then mix them up, and then start a new one in a month or two, and then you get different parents. Even if there's a lot of the same parents, they will not be in the same place. They can choose a different area of wellness. A person can participate in this program ongoing. It's just like you could sign up for a 6-week yoga class or a 6-week aerobics exercise class or a 6-week spinning class. You could do that the rest of your life and benefit from those classes. So that's so. Let's take a look now at the actual workbook where some of the key lessons are highlighted. So in session 6, which is at page 32 in their workbook, we highlight that, and this is really a review going back to session 1 about resilience and about wellness. That 3 things are really important here: a supportive community, spirituality, which we define as core values and beliefs, and then continuing to make choices that support balance in all areas of wellness, a holistic approach to wellness. So that's in their book. I like to just highlight these. The whole idea of a supportive community is that it takes a village to not just raise a child, but to support a family. And they have just experienced that. So they know exactly how good it feels to have a supportive community. And so they may want to talk about ways in which this is a very common thing. They may, for parents, as they conclude a wellness circle, is they want to continue to stay in touch on their own. They want to get together for coffee. They want to form a play group. They may, again, depending on the ages of their children, they may want to get together and do activities. Certainly we encourage that. But if they can talk about other ways in which they can continue to benefit from having a supportive community. A community that embodies what they've just experienced in the wellness circle. A place where they can be real, where they can be authentic. They can cheer each other on. They can laugh together. They can cry together. They can be real together. Then spirituality, again, as we define it in this program, is having a sense of your true north. And we talk about that in the next paragraph. Having a clear sense of your core values. There are so many distractions today in the world. There's so many things that are pulling parents and families, we call it from the outside in so many different directions. And it takes, for all of us, it takes a really a key, it takes discipline to stay connected to our core values. And to be able to say no to things that do not align with our values, to not try to be the cool parent, to try to be the one that have your kids be the cool kids necessarily, that are going to say yes to things that really are against your core values. And that's a really important, it's probably one of the most important things in parenting, is that we want to raise children that have good values, that have good character, and because pretty much everything else flows from that. And then the third thing is just being proactive about making choices. That wellness is holistic. It involves nurturing all areas of wellness proactively and continuing to make those choices. So however you want to present that, maybe you just want to, again, it's not really new information. Maybe you just want to remind them of these three things, put them up on the board, and then just have them discuss. What do these things mean to you? Have them push back on it. Do you think these things are important? What else would you add to this? What else, based on your experience, what do you think are key factors for enhancing your resilience and wellness? They might want to add to the list. So let them do that. So that's really the teaching segment, if you will. And again, it's not so much teaching anything new as much as it is reviewing, consolidating what they've already learned. Okay, so then we get into the coaching aspect of this session 6. It's a little bit different. I mean, you will first look back, if we look back to session 5 in their map that they completed after session 5 for use in between 5 and 6, so they can check in for next steps. It's their last chance to do that. If they have any next steps from the last week to check in. And then once they do that, then you're going to pause. If you, again, I don't know if you say this in the, you might want to bring something to play, some quiet music, because you're going to give them some time to journal again, to fill out this form on their workbook on page 34, the closing reflection and celebration. So it's, I don't need to read it to you, you can read it here yourself. But they give them time to, I don't know, maybe, what does it say in the workbook? It says, I think, 10 minutes to fill this out. Yeah, in the facilitator guide, it suggests 10 minutes. So give them about 10 minutes to fill this out. Have them, they may not, if they really didn't get into the wisdom quote or into the mindfulness or centering practice, just have them fill it out. But this thing, this is very helpful then in terms, because they're going to share this with each other in just a moment. One thing they're grateful for, something you know now and something you can affirm now about yourself, your child, your children, and others. So this is very, again, all part of the consolidating and celebrating. And then you create an opportunity then for them to share. Obviously, as with everything in a Parent Wellness Circle, it's always, people can pass. I've never had anybody pass with this. Sometimes they may not, do the entire form. They may just want to, talk extemporaneously. That's fine. But almost everybody has they always have something they want to share. Some gratitude they want to express and just something they want to celebrate. So this can be very moving. Again, this is where you can have them light a candle. There is a suggestion in the book for that in the facilitator guide on page 62. They can each light a little votive candle, and as they share what's on this form, and then they can put it on the table around the pillar candle. And again, it ends up symbolizing this wellness circle, this circle of support that helps them to let their light shine. Again, however you want to do that. You don't need to do the candles. You can do another closing. If you have another thing I've seen as a gift is like a wellness rock. Wellness rocks are just these rocks you can buy that have words written on them like peace and kindness and gratitude and positivity and love and joy. I've also seen people make up laminated bookmarks with either a quote from the program or something else that they can share. So again, make the closing ritual your own. But the sharing of this is really important for people, and sometimes people get very choked up because it's been a very profound experience for them. Often something on the line, I thought I was the only parent when I came here, that I thought I was the only parent that was really struggling, and now I find out that no, not only am I not the only person, but also I feel like I've also really gotten some help, and I've really made some progress, and I've learned to kind of turn some things around in my life and really get some traction, and that is it's a beautiful thing to see what can happen in 6 weeks, and this form will really help get that out. So that's it for session 6 and for the Parent Wellness Circle. Again, talk with them about where to from here. What do they want to do next? Do they want to have another Parent Wellness Circle? Will they invite some other people? Again, you can just let that unfold the way it unfolds in your context. And so that's how you close the Parent Wellness Circle. And we want to close this series of tutorials by now celebrating you and thanking you for your commitment to wanting to help parents and your commitment to this program and sharing these and hosting these circles in your context. We would love to hear from you. We'll put our emails up here on the screen. You can write to us. So we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, have any comments, any thoughts on how to improve the program. We're really all in this together. We all have a passion for being a village and creating villages of support for parents. But we cannot thank you enough, because without you, this program doesn't happen. So stay in touch. We'll do a little closing whiteboard video here as our normal practice by now. But we just want to close by saying thank you. And please stay in touch and let us know how we can continue to support you as you continue to support parents in your community.